Good morning. Welcome to the Wake Up Show with myself and Alex. If you're new to the show, we go over the charts and the news and our weird takes. So I'm here for the weird takes. How's everyone feeling out of 10?
Feel great, man. Trump's president, crypto to the moon. I'm feeling good.
Crypto to the moon, Trump's president. All right, let's get into it. It is 4/4/2025. Trump imposes global tariffs. Are you tired of winning yet, Alex?
Oh man, I'm so tired of winning.
Please, Mr. President.
All
It's
right.
too much winning.
Yeah. I mean, here's the deal. I am locked in right now. I'm so fired up. I just so okay, Trump, do what you're gonna do. I mean, the big thing that really sticks out to me is the VIX went up to 45 or 46 or something like that, which is an insane level. That is like that's capitulation. That's peak fear in a very condensed moment. And so I see something like that gets me excited. That gets me wanting to buy crypto and stocks. And so whatever, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, like, me and Alex, we normally get on a little bit early, and like we kind of talk about what we're going to talk about a little bit. We talked about the news and the topics. We did not talk about at all our TA where we're at, but just by what he's saying, I think we're in the same spot because I'm very excited as well. Like a fire under me, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of in the same thing here, so I'm excited to see. All right, Ethereum, the Pectra, which I think is going to be big for Ethereum.
Yeah.
So that got delayed. There were some issues. They said it was successful, then they said it was not. But right now it got delayed till May 7th. I do think that this is going to be, I'm not, man, it's just like show me the charts. I'll tell you the news. I don't really care about the narratives that much. Fundamentally, I think that this is a big deal. However, I don't know that it's going to do a lot for the price action.
Okay, so some really interesting things with this. Ethereum, Bitcoin. I posted this chart on my X account. Can you switch to my screen real quick?
Yep.
I just want to show you this. Um so that is not okay. Share this tab instead. Here we go. So what I have on my screen here is an arrow pointing to the week. You would like this, Devin, that Ethereum switched from proof of work to proof of stake. And look at that chart. My goodness,
Yep.
that's quite a chart. Now, if you want to
Mhm.
go back to yours, it's fine. Here's the other thing that I want to observe is big players are loading up on Ethereum.
Yes.
And so, that's an ugly chart. That is probably a terrible mistake by Ethereum to switch from proof of work to proof of stake. I mean, not probably, it is. But at some point, there's going to be a reversal. But then the other thing that I would say to you is don't forget this feeling now, because Ethereum is going to go away in a sense of like not be mainstream like AOL, like you say, Devin. So
Yeah, I well, so I to be fair, once they do this thing, I think it gives them a good step in the right direction.
yeah.
I think that it's an uphill battle for them. With Now, let me just say where I think that we're at right now, and then I'm going to bring it macro. Right now, Ethereum is criminally oversold,
Yeah.
and I think it's going to perform very well. I think that it gets to $7,000 in the next 12 or 18 months. That's my prediction. Okay. I do think that them switching to proof of stake from proof of work was a massive mistake, as you said, because you had a real claim for Ethereum to be the silver to Bitcoin's gold,
Yeah.
because it was proof of work, just like Bitcoin was proof of work. But now that it's proof of stake, it's like there's better options. There's better technologies. So they have an uphill battle to compete at that. So we'll see how that pans out. I do think that the Pectra update is in the right direction, but I don't think it's going to do crazy price action for Ethereum or anything like that.
Yes.
All right. The jobs report. U.S. unemployment rate rises to 4.2%, higher than expectations.
Yeah. All right. Expectations were 4.1%, came in at 4.2%. It is not the kind of thing that Devin, I don't think I'm putting words in your mouth that you pay attention to as much. It's something I pay attention to. It's not the alarms are not going off in my head right now, especially considering I'm sure there were lots of cuts to government jobs over the last month or so, or last couple months. It's something I when we enter recessions, and I believe we will enter a recession that we might currently be in, where we are currently in a recession, which will be confirmed in a couple quarters, that that unemployment will rise into that. So something, but not going to change my bias as of right now.
Yeah, I think that the unemployment rate is kind of like the inflation rate. It's just like, the metrics don't matter, and everything's made up. It just like it's a very misleading way to it's something, yeah. But just in the macro, it's like how they measure unemployment, how they measure inflation to me is kind of fraudulent. Not
Yeah.
kind of, it is absolutely is fraudulent. All right, bull or bear, everyone's favorite game. That's what you guys are here for. Tariffs will be a net positive.
Oh, man. Whew. All right. Well, not short term. You know, on a long enough timeline, if which this is a big um in the United States, because we have people from all over the world. All right, net positive in the United States in 3 years time, sure, but I have a hard time believing that 3 years from now the tariffs are going to be the same as what they are now. That Trump is taking some steps here to use this as a negotiation tactic to improve the bottom line for the United States, and that there would be changes coming, and there may be forced changes coming from other departments. And so, sure, bull, long term bull, but
Long term bull. I think it's going to be. I'm going to say bear on this statement because I don't think it's. I think it's going to even itself out. Is what I think is going to happen,
yeah,
both in the short term and in the long term. Now, I do think, me. Show me the charts. I'll tell you the news. So I've been kind of theorizing, like, what could come of this. I think that there's a realistic chance, a realistic possibility, based on how oversold everything is, and we'll talk about this a little bit more. How oversold everything is, how the VIX is going, the DXY is dropping, gold is dropping, the stocks are dropping, everything is dropping. So one of them is lying, right?
yeah,
Um, Maximum fear capitulation, just like you mentioned. I do think there's a realistic chance that there's a game of chicken being played. And like, if one thing that
yes,
we know about Trump um, is like he is a bully, and I would say an effective bully, right? I think there's a realistic chance that one of these countries folds, and then it has like a domino effect. So
yeah,
the first country to remove their tariffs on the United States is going to have a massive, massive advantage
yep,
because they're going to have direct access to the American consumer, which is the biggest consumer. And it could very well have a domino effect from other countries. So, I'm not like a Trumpy, or I'm not a Trump hater or a Trump lover, but I think that there's a realistic chance um, that this has like a bully domino effect, that, most countries will drop their tariffs, I think is realistic.
yeah. You worded it very well.
Tariffs will mark the local bottom, bull or bear.
The local, are we talking about for Bitcoin? The local bottom. If we're
30
just
days.
talking about,
Let's
all right,
define
all right, good. 30
30
days.
days. Maybe 31
So,
days from now we go lower, but the next 30 days.
so what was the local bottom then? Around 81,000, or are we talking about? All right, let me get an answer from you on that before I give some thoughts on that.
I'm going to define the local bottom for me is 70,
Okay.
76.
All right. Yeah. Yes. I'm a bull on that statement. You know, I was just, I might have actually posted this, or maybe I didn't. I don't know. I posted this on my X account. A lot of people asking me for $72,000. Are we hitting $72,000 Bitcoin? And something about that number, it just reminds me of $44,000 in August and September, and
12K.
$12,000.
Yep.
That was the other thing I said. $12,000 from November to January. No, really November to like March or May of 2022 going into 2023. That's the number. That's the number, in my opinion, that they want you to wait to buy. If we're talking about the next 30 days, I believe that Bitcoin will be higher over the next 30 days than where it is now, or than $76,000.
Yes, I'm 100% with you. I have the same exact feeling, that it's a wait for the day that never comes.
Yeah.
76 I mean, like, 76K to 72K in the grand scheme 10 years from now, like, it's not gonna matter, and that's exactly how I felt. When Bitcoin was at 16K, I did have, like, rational technical reasons to think that the bottom was already in, but also just from a psychological, the way I was looking at it too, was like, even if you're right, 10 years from now, what the hell is the difference between 16K and 12K?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's exactly how I feel about this. And it's even less of a percentage. Um, so yeah, I think it's going to be the day that never comes. Everyone is calling for that. And I would say 72K. Is it going to happen?
Yes,
Someday.
eventually. Yep.
Someday. But I think we're more likely to make an all-time high before we get 72K. That's my personal bias. That doesn't mean 500K. That means
Yeah.
110K.
Yeah.
All right, overrated, underrated. Day trading.
I'm assuming you're going to say overrated. Day trading. You know what? Yeah, day trading is overrated. I was just thinking trading in general.
No.
I would say day trading. You're trying to do too much.
Yes.
Don't make trading. Nobody should make trading a full-time job. It should be a part-time job if you're good at it, even if you're like the best trader in the world. So overrated.
Yeah, because it's a different. So this is the thing, and we were talking about this with the book that you're reading, or maybe you've
Yeah.
already read it. The biggest thing is not necessarily the strategy that you use. Realistically, any strategy with enough consistency and discipline will work.
Yeah.
The biggest variable is you and your emotional, psychological, the way you approach the market. And if you approach the market like you need to trade in order to feed your family, in order to pay your rent or your mortgage, it's a completely different psychological game than this is extra income that my bills are already paid. It's you're going to approach the market completely different, and I don't know that there is a way to overcome that. So I agree. I think that day trading full time is um I don't know. I don't want to say it's a myth, but I think that you can swing trade full time. More like
Yeah.
macro setups, and that's kind of more along the lines of what I do. But sitting there doing 5-10 trades in and
Yeah.
out a day, I think is overrated.
Yeah. You can do full-time research on
Yes.
trades, if you want to be a full-time trader, but yeah, I wouldn't be sitting looking at charts 8 hours a day.
Yeah. Where do you see the bottom short term? I think the bottom short term was 76K. Market cap, overrated, underrated,
Underrated,
underrated.
and will continue to be underrated until we stop hearing people call for Pepe to go to a penny, because it's not happening.
Or XRP going to 589.
Yeah.
Sorry, XRP Army, but market cap is underrated. All right, charts and coffee, and I'm gonna get the chill music while you do that.
Okay. All right. A few things here. There's so many charts that I want to talk about. Am I still good? I'm hearing the music very loudly.
Yeah, it's too loud. Sorry.
Okay. All right. No worries. Now, the VIX. The volatility index. This is the most micro. I prefer to look at this over fear and greed. All right, so this is fear and greed in a very narrowed down view. The VIX shot to the highest level since August 5th. You remember, guys, remember the Japan carry trade fiasco, and then before then, the highest level since COVID. This is not insignificant. This is a moment of peak fear of what I would say still, even now, is overreaction. I went live yesterday, and some of you guys were absolutely terrified. And I gave you the price to enter, $81,300 for Bitcoin, and went to 81,168. Sorry for that. And then some of you reported, Devin, that my live stream was depressing. I'm sorry. I was a bull in my live stream yesterday. All right, rant over. It's just because some of you, man, you're so emotional with all of your whatever. Stop buying garbage altcoins that are going to be worth zero one day. So okay, other things, rant over for sure this time. I want to Bitcoin right now is a beast. Oh, Cambodia just cut tariffs from 35% to 5%, according to somebody on my Angel Money on my TikTok account. So hey, maybe that's the first domino.
Wait, repeat that one more time.
Cambodia just cut tariffs for US from 35% to 5%.
Damn.
So we'll see. It's a comment. I'm going to look it up after this live stream for sure. But okay.
Dominoes. Go ahead. Sorry.
I just want to point out to you guys. I mean, the Nasdaq it's in a free fall. It looks like a disaster right now. It's probably soon, I think, going to put in a bottom and then move up to a lower high, something like that, maybe get up to the 200-day moving average. But then if you look at how Bitcoin has been holding up the last couple months in comparison to the Nasdaq, it actually looks very, very strong. And so this is why, like right now, when it comes to Bitcoin, I am really liking what I'm seeing. Okay, so Bitcoin, you look at the Bitcoin chart. This is Bitcoin priced in Nasdaq. If you're watching on YouTube at least, and you can see, so Bitcoin has been just continually being like, you know what, Nasdaq, we're not going to dump with you. We're going to put in higher lows. And then today, another announcement: Argentina removed tariffs. Okay, let's see. Today it's broken out versus the Nasdaq, and so here's what I think is going to happen. Is the Nasdaq is at the very least, and I could also show you this chart in the S&P as well. It looks pretty similar, but the Nasdaq is at the very least going to make its way back up to the 200-day moving average, and then but Bitcoin is going to outperform it, because this is a term called relative strength, and I'm not talking about the relative strength index. I am talking about relative strength. When you are looking to buy a strong asset, you look and you compare that asset to the rest of the market, and what the rest of what that asset, if the rest of the market's dumping, but that asset is kind of holding or dumping less than the market, that asset is showing strong relative strength. Bitcoin, in comparison to the Nasdaq, to the SPY, is showing strong relative strength. That means that Bitcoin is an asset you want to be buying right now while the market is struggling, while the rest of the market's struggling. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is between now, in my opinion, between now and 95K for Bitcoin, I'd rather just be holding Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance, I have Bitcoin dominance on the daily showing right here. And what we've seen is that altcoins recently have not been as strong in comparison to Bitcoin and in comparison to the rest of the market. Well, no, just in comparison to Bitcoin. I drew this ascending wedge. This breaks to the downside 68% of the time, and it looks like it's breaking to the upside. Now, I hope that this could be a false breakout, or that maybe this would peak at the 702 retrace from the early 2021 peak in Bitcoin dominance to the bear market bottom. And 702 is not much higher than where it is right now. 63 point. What, the 702?
What? Yeah. What is the exact number?
I think it's, let me see, spitball 63.25%, something like that. So, we've gotten to 63 already. Maybe that's a false breakout. We get to the 702, then we dump. I'm going to play it safe short term. I am looking to long Bitcoin right now and add Bitcoin to my stack. And then when things get a little oversold and I want to short, I short everything. So I think right now a better play is to between now and 95K. Next time Bitcoin goes to 95K, I think Bitcoin is going to continue to outperform the rest of the market. But we'll see. I
All
leave it
right.
to you.
I got something to say about the Bitcoin dominance. I do think that there's a strong possibility. I'll pull up my chart in just a second and talk about it, but I think that this is a strong possibility that this is just like what you were mentioning with the VIX maximum capitulation, right?
Yeah.
So think about it like this: when you get coins going through, like, say, Ethereum or Solana or whatever altcoin, or even the stock market, once you get to the 702 retracement, that's when you're going to get the crazy bullish narratives, right?
Yeah.
If it's going to get rejected, because it's if once it gets above the 702, it 9 times out of 10 it's going to go to price discovery, and if it gets rejected off of the 702, that means there's more work to do, right? You would agree with that statement?
Yes.
Okay, so the the thing that you have to view Bitcoin dominance is, it's not going to the 1618 or the 2618
Yeah.
because there's
It
only
can't.
100%.
Yeah.
So the fact that the tariffs are here, the VIX is where it's at, the DXY is falling off a cliff, gold is falling, and then the Bitcoin is at the macro 702. To me, it's like, I think that it's working on distribution. That first peak, I'll just pull up my chart.
Yeah. Go for it.
Uh, that first peak over here. So I think it's the UTAD is what it's working on right now specifically. Let me pull up Bitcoin dominance, real quick. So to me, this is textbook distribution here. So you have your buying climax right here, your automatic reaction, your secondary test, your up thrust, and I think we're just kind of filling out this wick right here, which is the macro 702. I have it right here, 63.22%. To me, I think it's gonna be a false breakout. I think that Bitcoin does another 1 to 2x from here over the next 12, 18 months, whatever. It's just fine. It's great compared to the stock market. I do think it's going to outperform the stock market, and I think that we have a dead cat bounce in the Nasdaq minimum, which is going to start to rotate into more risk on assets. But if what we could see is this wick even be filled out right in here,
Yeah.
and then in Wyckoff, this would be your UTAD, and then you would just kind of work on your LPS before actually rolling over. But I think that this is somewhere in phase B or phase C of Wyckoff. Let me show it quickly, what I'm talking about here. And if I start like talking about charts and I don't have my charts, let me know, because I have a bad habit
Yeah.
of doing that. Right here. Okay, so here's textbook. So you have the buying climax, automatic reaction, secondary test. This was the wick on Bitcoin dominance, and then right now I think we're filling out this wick. The bodies are already closer than that. The bodies are already higher. Body closes are already higher than the UT, but the UTAD, it textbook goes higher than the UT. So that's what I think Bitcoin dominance is working on, and I especially have a stronger bias towards it because of the simple fact that it can't go to the 1618 or the 2618 because it's on a scale of 1 to 100. And then Jesus. This is what we talked about last time, and I still think that we're working on this, and I actually think that we're getting stronger and stronger data for this. Another sort of like thing in the armor. Oh my God. So this is the same structure. So on the bottom, this is Bitcoin and the war in Israel. The war in Israel was right here at this bottom right here. And so this was Bitcoin was freshly at 16K, breaks out from 16K, goes to 31K, and then comes all the way back to 25K. And that was, you want to talk about the pit of despair, the beast, the belly of the beast. That was that. I remember people were depressed right here. This was not a good feeling for retail, anybody that was in crypto. because you just had this hope of like, man, we went from 16K to 30K, and like everyone kind of, this is it. And then you pull back to 25K, and then you get all the 12K. Like you were saying, we didn't get out of the 12K calls until Bitcoin actually like
Yeah.
fully was at like 40K.
Yeah.
That was when the last of the 12K calls that we heard. But so on the top is present day. So from November of 24 to present day. And on the bottom is the war in Israel. And I think there's so much similarities here of like people were calling for the 12K again. People were calling for 72K. The structure is almost identical. The sentiment, even the RSI, and I'm going to show it to you. So you have a peak here, a peak here. You have a peak that goes higher than this peak, a peak that goes higher than this peak. You have a creek down, and then big selling climax, big selling climax. I know it's the selling climax because the RSI was low, all the way flashing in the red, even though the secondary test goes lower than the selling climax. Look at the RSI on this. That is a divergence, and that's what we have right now. It's the same thing. It flashes red. The secondary test goes lower than the selling climax, even though the RSI is higher. That is a divergence. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You get your automatic reaction, which is that was the insider trading. Our automatic reaction, same thing right here. We had a big peak off of this. Then the secondary test goes lower. Secondary test goes lower. A move to the upside. A move to the upside, and then you get your higher low. This is where I think that we're at right now. I think we're making our first higher low. I think this week we're going to make a higher high to like 88, 89K, 90K, somewhere in there. And then we're going to make another higher low again, probably on the full moon. That's exactly where I think that we're at. I think it's going to be choppy. It's not going to be like a straight line. So, I mean, realistically, I'm predicting another, probably 3 weeks of chopping before any big major move actually happens. But I do think that the bottom is in. And there is a scenario. I'm going to put this out. Worst case, absolute worst case. And I don't even think that this is going to happen, but I will put it out so people will be like, oh, you said the bottom. What I'm talking about is the structural bottom. When we look back a year from now, we're going to say this 30-day average was the bottom. What could happen? This is accumulation. So this is the more likely scenario right here. Is we're somewhere in this phase. We could get a spring. And that would be scary. I don't think we will. Like, what other narrative could push it? I don't know. And we're already starting to get the dominoes. According to you guys, there's like 2 different countries that have already conceded, right? So yeah, that's where this is exactly where I think that we're at. And I think that Bitcoin is going to make an all-time high in May, by the end of May. If this were to hold true. And if this were to hold true again, we want to see a higher low. We want to see Bitcoin get into daily body closes above 88K sometime in the next week. And then we want to see a higher low that does not take out this low right here. But this is still the same like little move right here. This is where I think that we're at structurally. But this is very, very, very similar structural sentiment. The everyone calling for lower lows. Everyone saying like, when are we going to bottom? Just there's so much that is so similar that it's not even funny. So that's where I think that we're at. Also, we're about to get a death cross too. Probably in the next 2 days, we're going to get one. And I made a full breakdown on that. I made a full breakdown on the death cross, but spoiler alert, there's been 7 of 8 marked a 30-day local bottom.
Yeah.
7 of 8. The local 30-day bottom was already in. The only one that wasn't was the only one that was neutral, and it was neither bullish nor bearish. It was just choppy, but it did make a slightly lower low. The other 5 were outright bullish and did a minimum of a 1x within 90 days. And then the 2 that were bearish also did a 40% move to the upside before making a new low 200 plus days later. So this is presented as something that's negative, and it's not.
Yeah, death crosses are, I don't even pay attention to them anymore. They're so overrated. Even, we've had one weekly death cross in Bitcoin's history, and that was like I think it was I think it was January of 2022. No, sorry, January of 2023. Which, if you just remember where Bitcoin was in January of 2023, it's like that was a fantastic time to buy Bitcoin. Okay, so who cares about stupid death crosses?
It's such a lagging thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best. It was right here. It was right after the war in Israel.
Okay. All right. I was a little bit off then.
Yeah, there was one right here too. Oh no, this is a golden cross. You're right. No, this is literally right at the basically the same time as the Silicon Valley Bank going to zero. So you were somewhere between 23 and 20,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, this is a golden cross. This wasn't a death cross. My bad. Yeah, no, I am pumped right now. I think that there's a lot of moments in time where I get, we're content creators and you have this sort of this push to make content, right? Every day. It's a revolving door. And sometimes I'll just look at moving averages and I'll just do, different things. But there are moments when I get like a strong read as to where we're at. And I feel like I'm at one of these moments. And when I have clarity. And I had the same sort of thing with August and the Japan stuff. I had the same thing with July with Germany and Mt. Gox. When I get very, very strong convictions and a lot of clarity as to where we're at, I have one of those moments. And I am very confident that the structural bottom is in.
So I'm with you for the next couple months, and then I think we deviate, but that's okay. So
I think we're gonna let the market lead us either way.
Hey, yeah, there we go.
You're so wishy-washy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because people don't listen to time frames. I'm very excited about Bitcoin right now. I'm just leaving that at Bitcoin. You make a compelling case to be excited about altcoins, and I'm excited about the altcoins that I bought. Okay, large caps, XRP, Solana, Link. I'm excited about the deals that I got on those. But anyway, what were you saying?
Well, and I think I was just going to say, like, if we're going to know very quickly, like in the next week or so, is Bitcoin doing a fake out breakout or is it actually breaking out?
Yeah.
And I think once we get that answer, you're going to have a higher conviction one way or the other. Like if it's confirmed to be a fake out on Bitcoin dominance, I think that you're going to flip on that pretty quickly.
Oh yes, I mean it's for sure about altcoins. I mean, but still right now, I think you would agree with me on this. Like, there's certain altcoins that I have zero interest in touching.
Yes.
Because what I think would have to happen first is that we would need to see, Bitcoin, some of the larger altcoins start doing well, and then maybe I'll be interested in what would be an example. Like, not that I have any interest in buying Alephium, but if I were to, something like that, something in those regards, zero interest in buying Alephium right now.
Yeah.
So,
well, man, it's a fine line that we have to walk when talking about altcoins, because I think what people think when we say altcoins and the total 3 is going to do 50%, I think what they think that means is like every stinking altcoin is going to do 5, 10, 20x and your wildest dreams are going to come true. And I don't think that that's true at all. I think you have to look at inflation is one of the biggest things. You have to look at the structural chart. Is it still in the downtrend and is it not? I think you have to look at fundamentally, what are they doing? Are they a real player or are they just putting buzzwords on things?
That's right.
So no, I'm not bullish on every stinking altcoin, but I am bullish on some.
Yeah.
Ski, do you think crypto is depegging from the stock market? How are we holding so strong? Because, okay, I don't know that it's necessarily depegging, because I think that the stock market is going to have a dead cat bounce minimum, which is going to be the 0.5 from the top to the bottom in the next, whatever, not that long of a time frame. But the thing with crypto, because it's 24/7, is it will typically make the moves first and quickly. And I just think that the crypto move has already happened as far as to the downside. That's what I think. So I don't necessarily think it's depegging. I'm rooting for that to happen.
That would be great. But
Um,
no.
I don't think so. No, I don't think it's depegging. I just think that the moves happen quicker in crypto because the trading is 24/7.
Now, yeah, yes, I'm 100% with you. I mean, there is something to observe, and since the day of the elections, I want to pull this up on my X account. I'm not going to share my screen or anything. I just want to know the exact numbers. But the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq are both down since the day of the election. And let me find the exact percentages here. So S&P 500 is down 5.6%. It's probably actually down a little bit more since the market opened after I posted that post. The Nasdaq is down 7.7%, but then gold is up 13% since the day of the election, and Bitcoin's up 23%. So I think when you factor in everything that's going on right now, the conclusion, the end of this, if this is what if Trump accomplishes what he's saying, at least what he's giving lip service to what he wants, it is a significant shift to certain assets thriving and other ones not doing as well. And those certain assets that I think would thrive would be Bitcoin and gold, or crypto, some crypto, the good ones, and metals. And then I mean, we've been talking about this, looking at crypto, or sorry, looking at the stock market price and gold and everything, that there is a move right now that's happening with or without the tariffs, that over the next 10-15 years, gold and metals and crypto will outperform the stock market. I'm quite convinced of that.
Same. Punky gave me an opportunity to give a shameless plug, so I'm going to do that real quick. He says, "Can you make a video on YouTube changing the clutch on your tractor, please?" I will be making that video. That's going to be on the farm channel, though, not on the Your Boy Ski channel.
Nice.
So make sure to subscribe over there. We just hit 100 subscribers on that secondary channel.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I did a video too. I don't know if I told you about this last time we were live or not, but we've been pricing everything in gold because gold is the true value
Yeah.
because it doesn't change. And I made a video and basically not debunked, but really challenged this idea that real estate is in a bubble and
Yeah.
it's so unaffordable. And people can't buy it and this and that. And basically what I did was I went decade by decade. Um, I look at the average price of real estate, and then I looked at the average price of gold during that same time, and I priced the real estate not in the dollars, but in the gold. And I priced it, how many ounces of gold would it have costed to buy the average home decade by decade. And what I found was since 1970, when they removed the US dollar from the gold standard, or from peg to the gold, um, 1980 was actually the most affordable decade ever to buy real estate, uh, priced in gold. And it was a little bit shy of 100 ounces of gold would have bought the average home in America. But the crazy thing is, right now, today, is the
Yeah.
second most affordable time to ever buy real estate when you price it in gold. So the average is about 130, I think it's 131 ounces of gold is the average house right now. And compare that to 1990, it was 300 ounces of gold was the average house. 2000 was 250, or 200, excuse me. And then 2008, obviously 2010, whichever you want to look at it, was like that was the peak of real estate. So it was closer to 300 again. So, but right now it is 131 ounces of gold is the average home. And I think that just goes into basically we're being lied to about
Yeah.
inflation, and how they measure inflation is complete, utter nonsense. And this is what they talk about in the Bitcoin standard. The first recorded inflation in history was of gold. And I just have silver here. And the reason that we have these little rivets on our coins is because of coin clipping.
Yep.
And what they were doing was they were clipping the edges and they melted them down and gave them more coins. It went from 8 grams to 6 grams, and then it went from 6 to 4.5. And eventually the merchants caught on like, hey, this isn't what we're being presented. And what did they do? They raised the prices. And then what did the Roman Empire do? They said, no, no, no. These dirty, nasty, greedy landlords are raising the prices.
Yeah.
They're not going with the flow of like, hey man, why aren't you chill, bro? This is 8 grams. Just be chill here. And so they made it illegal to raise prices. And then what happened? The merchants stopped selling. And then what happened? The Roman Empire collapsed. So history doesn't repeat, but my God, does it rhyme?
Yep. Yeah. Um, I have nothing to add to that. I am very familiar with that account, and it certainly is. This seems like no. This it doesn't seem like this. This is what we're going through now with this fiat currency scam. Is that on steroids?
Yes.
It's so much worse.
Way worse.
But then everyone feels like, you get $100 bill, it feels like receiving the same $100 bill that you got 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It's not even close to the same thing. And then COVID exasperated that like crazy. So, man.
Well, the thing that is super unfair to everyday American people or just world people, because it's the same really across the world. I would say it's probably worse in a lot of countries, actually. I do think that America has the least smelly poop of all of the crap as far as strength of dollar goes.
Yeah.
The thing that, and a lot of people realize this in 2022, but it's just like they nickel and dime you every single year. And you get a pay raise based off of, so in 2022, the inflation was 8.3%, even though my food bill doubled. And I'm sure yours did too,
Oh,
Alex.
yeah. Yep.
Like on everything I love from 2019 or 2020 through 2022, my food bill was double and I was eating less quality. I was nicking a nice steak every week and I was cooking it for my wife in 2020 and 2019, double the price, no steaks. So anyways, but our pay raises that we got, if you were like a federal employee or anything like that, the pay raises you get is based off of what is reported on inflation. So the pay raise that I got being in the army at the time was 8.3, even though my food bill doubled. And that's what happens every single year. It's like they call it 2.1%, but it's really 2.8%. And just over the course of years and years, this compounds to like we're at this point where we think that real estate is so unaffordable, even though priced in gold, it's the most affordable that it's ever been since 1980.
Pretty much.
Do you think gold has hit a local top? Again, I don't think that gold changes. The thing that we measure it in changes.
Yeah.
2,000 years ago, 1 ounce of gold equaled a fine man's suit. Today, 1 ounce of gold equals a fine man's suit. I think that's going to continue.
So, yes, I 100% agree with you on that. Looking at the chart, there's really no reason to think as of right now that gold has hit a local top. There's nothing fundamentally, technically on the chart that would say, oh yeah, we've peaked with gold. So either way, the answer is no.
Measure home values in Bitcoin crazy. I know Bitcoin has the scarcity of gold and the technology of the internet. I think it's, the best investment on planet Earth. They force bread prices. There is no inflation.
They force bread prices where it is at here to prove that there's no inflation in the EU, in the European Union. That's what he's saying. So, hey, look, guys, bread's the same.
Yes.
So no inflation, therefore no inflation.
My bad. I did a full deep dive, but doesn't check out. Bread's the same. We're good.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Ski, is it true that recessions never happen when everyone's grandma is saying recessions are coming? That is true. By the time you hear about a recession from retail, it's already done. And the bottom's already in.
I mean, technically that's true. I mean, when you hear the word recession, or when it's announced that we're in a recession, that means that the previous 2 quarters we were in a recession. So,
Well, I mean, I'll just give you the last example was 2022. We had a
yeah,
recession. We
yeah,
did not hear about a recession, and Alex can attest to this too. All of 2023, like, what was everyone talking about? Like in your live stream, people were so afraid of recession, even though we just had one in 2022. And
yeah. I mean,
that's go ahead.
what uh, I was talking recession, but after they cut rates,
Right.
not in 2023.
Well, just okay. Well, I don't want to speak for you then, but this is how I was in 2022. I knew the definition of a recession. We had
Yeah,
two negative GDP quarters, and they were lying about what a recession was. And then everyone was afraid of a recession in 2023, and I was like, "You don't get back-to-back recessions. We just had one."
yeah.
So that's how I was with it. Um, doesn't metal and risk on flourish during recession?
After.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at what happened in after the Great Financial Crisis, um, we dumped, and then metals took off, and they peaked in 2011.
Ant-Man says gold is money, everything else is credit. JP Morgan. I really like Robert Kiyosaki's book called Fake. And basically he breaks down the three different monies. And you have the US dollar, which is I got one right here.
You got a
US
dollar? Wow.
I know. You got the US dollar, and this is the government's money. It says this note, this debt is legal tender for all debts, public and private. In God we trust. But why not just trust God's money, which is gold and silver? So you have the dollar is government's money, gold and silver is God's money, and then Bitcoin is the people's money.
Now, one thing that I'll say in terms of gold, there is something that stuck out to me. There's this guy, he has a crazy following. His name's Solana Rockets, and he's been posting nonstop about meme coins like through all of 2024. That's all he cares about is, in particular, Solana meme coins. And I'm in his Telegram group, and he said that he was starting to buy gold, and I was like, uh-oh, maybe we have reached a local top in gold. If this guy who's only been posting about meme coins is all of a sudden interested in buying gold. So
Let me just pull up gold. Now you have me curious. Let me be a contrarian here for a second.
I mean,
the
chart doesn't communicate anything. So in terms of it being a local top.
The only thing you could say is like we've had a macro divergence. I guess I don't even have my.
Yeah.
But this would be macro, super macro. Like you had this, the RSI was clear in the 90s back in April, and then you went higher as the RSI went lower, and then you went higher as the RSI went lower again. That is a macro divergence.
There is. I see the divergence there. Yeah.
But that would take some time to play out, and it's getting close to the 2618 as well. Macro.
Yeah.
So this is from August 11th.
You mean August 2011, or you're talking about August 11th?
Excuse me, August of 2011.
Yeah. Okay.
From that top to the bottom, we're nearing the macro 2618, which would be about $3,300.
Okay.
So you would probably start to see, if we're going to get a top, you'd probably start to see distribution, because gold is not like it's not a shit coin that's going to, excuse my language. It's not going to, just like pen drop off. Like it's not going to nuke like that. It's it's going to do something like this if it is a top. That's what it's going to do.
Yeah.
That's what the top's going to look like for gold.
Yeah.
I could see it at 3,300 though. Retail bought the most stocks in decade yesterday. Where are you getting this information?
Yeah, I saw that comment. I'm curious about that. That's it's something to make note of.
Do I own physical gold? That is the only gold that I own. I do not own paper gold. Yeah. I don't. I buy gold every week. I buy silver every week. I buy the physical stuff.
All right.
Not your keys, not your crypto. not your coins, not your silver.
Yep. And then someone's going to break in my house and steal my gold, which is why I have a little bit of the ETF.
Well, if they do, it's the wrong house. Listen.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Call an ambulance, not for me.
I know that reference.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Go ahead, pull up.
Somebody made this lame comment. I tried buying Bitcoin on Bitmart yesterday or a couple days ago, and it wouldn't let me, which I think means that Bitmart doesn't have any Bitcoin to sell. And I was like, that might be a sign of things to come. And this person commented, or it's a sign that you're broke. I was like, I respond to this person. He doesn't like. I respond to this person. 911. I'd like to report a murder. Some guy. He had some like foreign name. Some guy named, and I like butchered his name on purpose. Like just murdered me, and so. Oh man, I just was laughing so hard. Like, oh, you don't have any. I tried buying Bitcoin, which means I had something to buy Bitcoin with. But this person responded.
They said your card got bounced.
Yeah, maybe that's what they were thinking. Maybe they thought I was trying to buy it with like a debit card or something. But no, I was trying to buy it with this other cryptocurrency called USDT. I don't know if you ever heard of it. So,
no. Excuse wife, boyfriend takes care of the intruders.
Yeah. How do you feel about Aerodrome? Buy or wait? I would absolutely wait. My goodness, man. That is textbook case of, even though it's such a discount. This chart looks like a disaster. Are you kidding me?
Well,
and
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, let me say, it's a textbook crypto that I have no interest in buying right now. It's terrible tokenomics and new utility. That is what I want to avoid more than anything else.
Here we go. Yeah, it just has the tokenomics are terrible. That's what I was gonna say. It's like,
yeah,
this is why. I mean, it's just still in a downtrend. It still has not broken. And it fell below this, like what would have been support. And that just goes to show you, like, could we get a dead cat bounce from here? Like, sure. Yeah. But I mean, I think you're lucky to get back to the 0.5.
And I mean, there's nothing now. There's no support between now and like when it launched.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let me be.
I'm looking at the weekly chart.
Let me be a contrarian here. Okay. I don't like our Arrow, to be frank. I'm with you. I don't like coins that are highly inflationary, that are brand new. This is textbook distribution. This is textbook markdown for sure. So this is like an over exaggerated pen link, but really this is like the distribution healthy area would be in here. When you view it on the market cap and not the price. So the price, it's lost the support here. Yeah. But this is going to be resistance. Like, make no mistake about it. Even if you bounce from here, this is going to be resistance. But on market cap, you're still in that support.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, and then it's also flashing red here on the RSI. I mean, best case scenario, you're going to work on accumulation. Like best case scenario, it stopped
Yeah.
skidding, and you're gonna get whoops, you're gonna get accumulation. Like best case scenario, it breaks the downtrend sideways. Like that's best case scenario. But I don't think it's gonna do like crazy numbers for sure. I'm not a fan of Arrow. I'm not a fan of any like highly inflationary coin
Yeah.
that is brand new. I'm just like, it already had its day.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing. Like in November and December, it's like I was bullish on a lot of altcoins, but all the altcoins that people kept asking me about, I was like, take profit, take profit. And Arrow was one of these. Like back in November and
Yeah.
December, I was like, for the love of God, take profit. Same thing with Sui. I've been bearish since November and December, January. Same thing, Penlink. I was bearish November, December, January. Like Land Wolf, there was all the coins that everyone was asking me about in the comments. I was bearish on, even though I was bullish on a lot of coins. XRP, I was bearish in November, December.
Yeah. Someone's calling me out for having a prediction on $20 on Arrow for this cycle. I reneged on that in August of last year. So FYI, I started saying something like maybe like $5, $10 on Arrow. But I mean, right now the chart zero interest in buying Arrow, and I am talking about short term for sure.
Yeah, well, listen, like there's been a lot of coins that I've had too where I had a higher prediction, and then it's like,
Yeah,
well, then they just start dumping supply like crazy. And it's like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, that wasn't a part of my equation that, hey, they're gonna dump a stupid amount of supply on your head. So yeah, it's happened to me too. Same thing with Gala. One of my most popular videos ever is Gala. And it's like they have 6x the inflation since the time I've made that video.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I gave a price target for Gala at 35 cents for whenever the peak is, which I'm very open minded about when the peak is for the cycle, and people were railing on me because it was they were calling it FUD when the all-time high was 83 cents. And I had heard, people in my comment section saying that Calvin Hill was saying new all-time high for Gala. So I was having to deal with Calvin Hill, what he says is gospel truth. And okay, well, here we are now. Most people, when they saw my early 2024 price target videos, they're like, why are you being so conservative? You are too conservative. And now it's like, I think most people would just would think that none of those are going to hit, except for the one that did hit, which is XRP already. So
Yeah. It was the same thing for me with XRP. I was way too bullish in
yeah,
2022, and then I was way too bearish, even though my price targets never changed. I will say for me on Gala, I was bullish on Gala in 2022, and then I realized
yeah,
in 2023, early 2023, that they were dumping supply like crazy, and I completely went away from that.
yeah. That's something. Pretty much the same thing happened with me. Like I loved it in 2021. I was really excited about accumulating that in the bear market. But then I saw what their supply did over the, in between the peak in 2021. And I mean, this is, we talk about this all the time. You and I have been talking about this since we've started going live together. So
I think it's just like for retail or just regular people, I think it's the most important thing that you need to pay attention to
yeah,
is the market cap to FDV. And I think that just tells you so much information on, like, you need to start there and stop there. So like everything in between is like fundamentally what it's doing, what do the charts look like, who is the team, all this and that. Start with FDV to market cap and end with FDV to market cap and
yeah.
constantly check that, because price equals supply plus demand. He's up 27% today.
Yeah, and we have a long way to go. I'm seeing 14%, but I'll take 27%. Um, and so we got excited. People got excited about we went live with On Chain Labs on X, and people saw for themselves the potential with what that's going to be. And it is still on my X account, or you could join the Telegram group. It's like, I can't wait, man. And whether we peak at the end of 2025 or we follow a timeline that I'm thinking more so, he and Solnick, we're going to be ready to strike. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think both of those should come out in April.
Yeah.
I think for both of us is what they're saying. Developers though, listen, I want to just like taper everyone's expectations. I'm super pumped about this, and it's going to be literally groundbreaking. Developers are like contractors in that whatever they tell you the time is going to be, like add 20% to it.
Yeah.
Whatever they tell you the cost is going to be, go ahead and add 20% to that too. So developers are very much like that. So they're saying April, so we'll see.
I mean, just like this Ethereum upgrade that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Same deal. They had to delay it, and you don't want to launch a crappy product. So I'm willing to wait. I'm patient with that.
Right. Yeah, I'd rather have it right than fast.
Yeah.
Yep, exciting stuff coming. Solnick's working
Yeah.
on the pre-staking.
And I sent you something, Devin. I don't know if you made a video about it, but like I have a friend who is the son of a Kentucky state senator, and Kentucky just introduced something that I don't think they understand what they just did. Because what you can do is sell your crypto, and this is in place right now. You can sell your crypto and not pay any additional taxes. So sell your crypto and you have to buy something with that crypto. And so I asked my friend, can you buy stable coins with that crypto? He says he doesn't know, but could you buy Ethereum with Bitcoin or something like that? Which I would not recommend. But you buy something with crypto, you don't pay any additional taxes other than, if you're buying a tractor like Devin did with crypto, you don't have to pay sales tax on that. You pay sales tax. That's the only tax you have to pay. So hopefully for some of you it's turning something in your head right now. What that means is that there's no capital gains tax that you're paying on your crypto.
You guys were asking why I picked Kentucky for my farm.
No. Yeah. And so, all right, here's the deal. On-chain Labs. There are two ways that I cash out a crypto when I want to transfer money to my bank. I transfer either to Coinbase and cash out, or I transfer to Robinhood and cash out. They are going to come out with a card. This is down the road. They're going to come out with a debit card, which is where you can spend your crypto and buy a burger at McDonald's or something like that. Okay, so this is now a third way that I'm going to be able to cash out. And if I'm in the state of Kentucky or something like that, and I don't have to pay capital gains on my cashing out, that's a potential path to zero capital gains on your crypto gains.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. I know that I already run a business online, and I will be running a physical business with the farm. And I know that I will be accepting crypto. I accept crypto for payment right now, and I will be for my meat and everything else too. So,
okay, Zebek card allows off ramping. I am curious, so I will look into that. Thank you for that.
I don't mind Zebek's chart. I don't think it has crazy upside, but I do like the bottoming structure. I think that it's forming.
All right, cool. I just, what's about the card? Is it only cashing out Zebek, or is it other stuff too?
James says, can you repeat that about the taxes?
Oh, man. All right. So if you buy something I'm not going to talk about Beppe. We need the rest of the market to reverse. Maz, come on, man. If you buy, this is in Kentucky, and they're hoping that it'll happen on a federal level too. If you spend crypto on something, on anything, the only tax you pay is sales tax. The language in the document, in the bill that was passed, is no additional taxes.
Meaning long-term, short-term capital gains.
Correct. Yes. So
So if Kentucky's, I think Kentucky's sales tax is like 5% or something. I don't know what it is actually. I'm
yeah,
spitballing, but you would pay 5% on my tractor that I just bought yesterday in Kentucky. Um, but I wouldn't pay 45% or 25%.
yeah. All right, 100 cryptos can be used for Zebek. I'll look into that.
I don't mind their chart. I think that they have a pretty strong bottoming structure
Are you
happening.
looking at their chart right now?
No, but I can pull it up.
Okay.
He's asked me many times on my
All
live
right.
streams. Um, and I always say the same thing. Like I think it's got a strong bottom here. Let me try to pull it up. ZEB. So yeah, here you go. I'll pull it up real quick. Oh, I already got mine. Yeah, this is to me is textbook accumulation. So this is a decent looking chart. I don't think it has crazy upside. I mean, if I pull even from here, maybe, you're looking at 7/10 of a penny, which is decent. I mean, you're talking about 6-7x for a parabolic. That's pretty good. Retracement is, a 1x. So 1 to 7x, I think, is realistic. If this is car changing
Sure.
money.
Yeah. Could you sell the thing you bought with crypto for no tax again? That has nothing to do with crypto. That's a confusing question.
So if I sell my tractor,
Yeah.
well, you
That you
don't pay.
bought with crypto. If you bought it with crypto, yeah.
I don't think you pay capital gains on that unless you're doing it like a business.
Yeah. Like if I sold my car, if I bought a car with crypto.
I know at a certain point, with cars specifically, they ask me how I know. I'm a mechanic, but at a certain point of flipping cars in a year, you have so many cars that you can flip before you have to get a license dealership. So they hit
Yeah,
me with one of those.
yeah.
They hit me with one of those letters one time.
Oh wow. Okay. I've
Yeah,
never come close to that.
yeah. I used to buy a bunch of like beaters, and I would fix them up,
Hmm.
and I would fix them. I would drive them for a little bit, and then I would sell them, and I would do that a lot.
Somebody commented, you twittered that this dump is equivalent to the August crash. I don't know what this person's talking about, but if it is, which, well, here's what I'll say: the VIX has gotten to a level higher than at any point since the August crash, and then before then, at any point since COVID. That's good.
Yeah.
That's buy. You buy when you see the VIX.
Well, it is similar in an emotional standpoint of like, hey, um, the there's no higher calls; it's only lower, and that's the same thing that happened in August. Of like,
Yeah,
everyone was calling. What was it? 44K. That was the
yeah,
number. So
yep.
the August was the Japan fiasco. And so that's what we're getting right now. We're getting calls for 70% Bitcoin dominance, and we're getting calls for 72K Bitcoin. So is that possible? Sure. I don't think it's probable though.
Yes, it would have to be a wick. I mean, my line in the sand is all right. Sorry, I'm gonna have to mute somebody on. I can't respond to every one of your questions, man. You're gonna have to be done for this live stream. All right, I don't even remember what I was talking about.
Your line in the sand.
Oh
You
yeah, my
said a
line
wick.
in the sand, the 50-week moving average,
Yes.
which is 76K, around 76K right now. So could it wick below on a weekly close? I'm not looking for a daily close if it's a 50-week moving average. Sure, yeah, it could wick below on a weekly candle, but I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. So I made a video, 4 reasons the bear market's not here, and that was one of the things. Like we have to get below that to start, and we have not.
Yeah,
But spoiler alert for that video, go check it out. We have 0 of 4 things yet. So does that mean Lambos and sunshines? And nope, that's not what it means. But are we going to go into a perpetual downtrend from here? I don't think so. Why nobody talking about this war brewing against Binance and stablecoin?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with it because I guess maybe because nobody's talking about it.
No one's talking about it, bro. We don't know. All I know is Alex card got declined.
That's right. I tried to buy Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitmart wouldn't let me because I have no money.
VeChain. I like VeChain. Alex doesn't as much. 246 is my 20, 40, 60 is my low, medium, high.
I don't like VeChain right now. I mean, I don't see a reason to like VeChain right now. There's nothing, I mean, I'm looking at RSI. I can't even say bullish divergence on RSI. The chart looks just like it's going straight down. I will like VeChain eventually.
Well, my time frame is more macro.
Yeah, sure. Yep. I'm still showing the wrong tab. All right. Anyway,
I think they're on a lot of support too.
I mean, that's what I like trading. This is why I like trading older cryptos, because it's like you can draw that. You could historically just draw lots and lots of levels that you can trade in between, and the chart will respect those levels.
Yeah. I mean, it's been making higher lows literally since launch. It's been holding this same, like I could pull this all the way back to 2019 and you could see all these bottoms are kind of in the same space here. I'm going to show my chart real quick.
Okay.
Because I got VeChain up. Like this has been the key level forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'd say on the macro, I think that this is probably a good spot, but it hasn't quite broken the downtrend yet. So yeah, I like VeChain here. When I'm looking at VeChain, it's like macro, like we're below the 236, definitely. And I think it's a good project. Can it go lower in the micro? Sure.
I mean, in that regard, I mean, I don't think there's anything we disagree on, especially because we both said if we were forced to choose a crypto to hold for 10, 20 years, VeChain was on our list, top 3 list.
Yep.
So I mean, that's a significant thing to claim.
Yeah, I think at a minimum, VeChain gets to 14 cents, which is the macro 0.5 Fibonacci retracement. There's not a lot of inflation on VeChain.
Yeah.
It's the official sponsor of the UFC, which is a massive, they're partnered with Walmart, Amazon. I just think it's a real player. I think it's Kaspa is king. I think Kaspa's bottomed. I don't think that it's going to V bottom, but I think it has bottomed. It hit my macro target, which I mistakenly moved off of. That was my biggest blunders, is like when Kaspa was at 15 cents, I said it was going to go back to 5.5 cents. And then I moved off of it. And then here we are.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I've said that I like about Kaspa is like the entire market was going to proof of stake. And then in 2022, they launched proof of work and just kind of like absorb that, and look at how well it did from 2022 to its peak in 2024.
Yeah. To me, this is your selling climax. This is basically what I think is going to happen. I think it's working on accumulation. I think it's going to take a while because it got a super healthy distribution. Like this is very like institutional, which gives me like a lot of hope for Kaspa in the future. So if you're going to get a nice, healthy institutional style distribution, I would expect the same in reverse.
I mean, that looks like Bitcoin's chart from, February to May of 2021. And then what did it do after that? It did fine.
Yeah, I think that Kaspa has bottomed structurally, right? It might wick lower. This to me is your selling climax, and it's going to chop and be boring for a little while before making it push higher. That's what I think. I might actually add this to my portfolio. We'll see. I want to see it break this downtrend here, which it hasn't technically done.
Yeah, I'm going to wait until a break of a downtrend, but
I like proof of work coins though.
Yeah, for sure. VeChain to $1, no.
246 is my 20, 40, 60 is my low, medium, high.
Yeah.
Link Link is in my kids' portfolio. I like Link both right now and for the next 12, 18 months and for the next 12, 18 years.
Yeah, I like Link. I like Link a decent amount right now. I'm going to pull up the RSI on Link. Oh, that's the weekly chart. I was like, what's going on here? So I mean, look, this is what happened. This happened. This same exact pattern happened when Chainlink, or sorry, when Bitcoin, like when it was time to buy Bitcoin, if you wanted to buy the bottom, we saw a breakout in RSI, backtest. In this case, it's backtest 3 times. RSI, I would say, looks super bullish. Huge bullish divergence on Chainlink right now. And so I'm in a long on Chainlink, right? It's a pretty I keep adding to the long. I have so much conviction on this that this is the bottom.
Yeah, I'm probably going to add one too. Actually, I'm with it's very rare that I find a coin where it's like all 3 timelines line up.
Yeah.
Where short term, medium term, long term. I think that about Chainlink right now. So this is a very good looking chart. That doesn't mean that it's going to be correct, and we could be face meltingly wrong. That's fine. But I believe in Chainlink long term. It's in my kids' portfolio. It's one of my kids' best winners, actually, because I accumulated all of this stuff right here. For them. Oh, I'm not even showing my chart. I accumulated all this stuff right here. I think their average price is like $5 or $6. So that's a huge portion of their portfolio. But yeah, I think Chainlink it's below the 236. It's on top of all the support over here. There's not a crazy amount of inflation. You've gotten a death cross, which again is it's a bullish thing. It marks a local bottom most of the time. The bottom was already in. And we're creating a higher low. So if this holds right here, 11.7, if that holds, like, man, Chainlink could really start to move. And when it does it quickly.
Yeah.
And it's just it has the same macro structure of VeChain and all the other coins that I really like, of like your macro accumulation, your sign of strength, your comeback and reaccumulate, you make a higher high and then you reaccumulate on top of the prior bottom. Like VeChain has the exact same setup. But Lynx is a little bit higher, even the second reaccumulation. Like this is the same structure. It's the same structure for like most of the dinosaur altcoins that I think are the best plays right here. So I'll probably open up a long on Link after this live stream, actually.
Yeah. And I like, all right, we're not gonna see, just perspective as always, Chainlink is a large market cap crypto. We're not talking about 10x's, or I mean, I'm not talking about a 10x on Chainlink. So
I think a 10x
I'm here for gains. You think it's possible?
I think it's possible, but I think probable. So my medium is, I have a low, medium, high. It's a 5x. So $78 is my medium case scenario. My low case is $38. So $38, and then 178 is my absolute most bullish case scenario. But I think the most probable is $78.
All right,
and that's a 5x.
Yeah, which I think lots of people right now, given how the desperate state of things, it's like, hey, sign me up
until we get it, and then they're like, nah, I need a new boat.
Yep.
I need a new boat, actually. I was just going to pay off my debt, but I want to pay off my debt, get a new boat, and get a bigger box to live in.
Oh, man. I got to respond to a question here. So for your longs on Link, are we keeping it sensible at 5x, or are you going crazy at 75x LOL?
I don't even do 5x. So
yeah, I'm in a 2x long, which I would have, like, if I was in a 5x even, like, given what happened this morning, it's like middle of the night, Bitcoin pumped, everything pumped really hard. Things were looking really good. And then and then it just dumped. And who knows? Maybe if I did a higher leverage long, I would have gotten scared out of that. But I've held on to it, and now I'm in the green.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 3x. There you go. If you want all my
Sounds good.
trades, you can get 2 NFTs and have lifetime access.
You can make, even with just 1x, you can make, if you're trading, you can make, it's crypto. Like you can make significant gains.
Yeah. So that's the thing too. Okay. Where I think people screw up is they compare futures trading to future crypto trading, right? And
Yeah.
you know, a huge move in the stock market is 1%.
Yeah.
Literally. Like 1% in a day is like, oh my God, it's up or down 1,000 points today. But in reality, so people will do like, 20, 30, 50x leverage, 100x leverage on that because a big move in the stock market is a 1% move. A big move in crypto is a 100% move.
Yeah. Which 1x, 100%. That sounds great.
Like literally, if I see a coin up 10% in a day, I think nothing of it. Like I'm looking at the crypto bubbles today. Grass is up 27%. It's like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You don't need to do more than 5x leverage on anything ever. Realistically, 2 to 3, 4x's, you're going to make plenty of money if you have the right strategy and you're patient and you're disciplined. You don't need to make up for the volatility because crypto itself is already volatile.
Yeah. Another comment from the same person. I think a lot of people are impatient too and want to see the instant big gains, very close to gambling. So I've referenced this book a ton. This book that I'm reading right now, which I would recommend all of you buy. It's called Best Loser Wins by Tom Hugard. And he actually, he made a point that like the best traders in the world, you would think of them as the kind of people who will go to the casino or buy lottery tickets, but actually they have a strong aversion to gambling. They don't like to gamble. And so, well, you're going to respond and say, well, trading is gambling. I mean,
it can be.
It definitely can be. Oh, hey, 1UP's here. That 30K sure looks spicy on Bitcoin. You picked a wrong day to come in here, 1UP. I'm a mega bull on big. The resident bear. I'm super bullish on Bitcoin right now.
Yeah, Alex, he tried to buy Bitcoin. His card declined, and he's like, "This is the bullish sign."
My card got declined.
The bottom is in.
The assumption of, this is a great quote. The assumption of risk does not a gamble make. There we go.
Boom.
And foregone, just forget about it. Abandon hope with your question about Uniswap. Sorry.
Abandon hope. What's wrong with Uni?
No, this guy, he comes into all my live streams and he asks me the same things every time. And he's like, yeah. And I make fun of him all the time and he keeps coming back.
I don't mind Uni's chart actually. I think it has a similar setup than as Link and VeChain. Same.
All right, so do not abandon hope, foregone.
It hasn't broke the downtrend yet, but what was the thing about the RSI that you were saying?
On Uniswap? I didn't say anything about you on RSI.
No, on Link.
Oh, I mean, it's massive bullish divergence. So I'm seeing it on Uniswap there.
I think macro, I don't know about micro, but macro, it has the same chart as Link to me. And it has the same chart as VeChain. Like these all have the same charts. These are the dinosaur coins that I'm looking for. I will say about Uni, just like fundamentally, I think that DeFi is going to do really well. And I think that Ethereum is criminally oversold. So it would make sense that if Ethereum makes a move, Uni is going to make a move too. Take that for what it's worth. It already had a death cross too.
So. And then it's dead.
Forget about it. All right, guys. It's dead. Forget about it. All right, guys. That is going to be it for this time. We will never message you. That's somebody from Pakistan, Kakistan, Turkestan, Lakers in 5. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch is where I'm at. I think that Alex is on YouTube, X, and TikTok.
Correct.
TikTok has lost its charts live stream privileges from me. So if you want to see the best viewing experience, make sure to subscribe on YouTube. It is on probation for me and will not get any live streams like that. It's going to have a nasty phone live stream until September 30th, 2025. That is when it's off probation.
All right.
All right, guys. That's going to be it for this time. Any last words?
I will not message you.
Do not redeem.
Do not redeem.
All right, guys. Peace, love, prosperity. God first. God bless.